Chamber music can be heard throughout Würzburg. It's hosting 60 concerts in 4 weeks, a Mozart marathon. The great composer himself would likely be surprised. He only stopped in Würzburg briefly in 1790, just long enough for a cup of coffee. Yet the city honors him annually at its Würzburg residence. But far away from the festival hubbub, up-and-coming young musicians from across Europe have gathered in a former monastery for the MozartLabor, or Mozart Lab. Here they're coached by international stars. Celebrated soprano Christiane Karg is among them. Although she sings at the world's greatest opera houses, she's made time to be here. She grew up with Mozart.
I started with Mozart. I studied in Salzburg and finished my degree at the Mozarteum, then made my Salzburg Festival debut the year of the 250th anniversary of Mozart's birth. Lots of Mozart.
But the lab is about more than just Mozart. Karg is helping these 2 scholarship students, one English, the other Irish, work on music from various eras.
Grenze wohl draus wind ich und 1000 Gedanken bind ich und Grüße, bisschen mehr Zeit geben.
Most of all, the intonation has to be just right.
The difficulty is there's a huge amount of text, yet it should never sound rushed and still must have this agitato to it. We need to work on the lyrics some more. Because we're here in a monastery and outside the city, there's a different rapport. We eat together. It's a bit like a retreat. You get to know the other people. Not just the other musicians, but also journalists and composers, whom we rarely have any contact with. Singers and composers, you'd think they would just go together, but it's not like that.
Mozart as a subject of debate. For 3 days, the musicians talk not only amongst themselves, but also with researchers and contemporary composers. This is also part of the lab. Budding musicians meet photography students.
Und dann bitte einmal zu mir, hierher.
Kopf ein bisschen weiter nach unten.
I'm working with musicians I don't know personally. I don't even know what they play. And I have to put what I see into portraits of them within a short amount of time.
We have to confront music, and not just the music itself. It's not enough to confront music with music. For instance, the music of Mozart's time, the 18th century, with contemporary music. Rather, we need to confront it with the realities of life, with the environment in which classical music finds itself today, which it must deal with, and against which it must defend itself and assert itself. That was the main thought behind the establishment of the MozartLabor.
After spending 3 days in the lab, what are the results? These women from Ireland and London are classically trained singers. For them, the workshop in Würzburg was something special. Just being here has helped them understand Mozart better.
It takes time, study, experience, and self-consciousness before you can say, now I can really enjoy Mozart, now I'm a fan.
Jetzt kann ich echt Mozart genießen. Jetzt bin ich ein Fan.
I think most of all Mozart had a big personality and a lot of humor. And I think you have to work very hard and then not take it so seriously.
The concert at the Würzburg residence is part of the MozartLabor. Participants perform the entire repertoire they've worked on. It's a highlight of the festival. Mozart himself would no doubt have approved.
Bald sind die letzten Segel gezogen.